Next up,
he fights
at UFC
Charlton
Vegas
Almeida.
64, we have the rebooked Mark O. The O stands for Olympian. Madsen taking on Grant Dawson. This is rebooked. This was from UFC Vegas 63 last week. And even then, Grant Dawson was a short notice opponent. But they've rebooked it. He got another week here to get his shit together. And now it will be on this card. Mark Madsen, 12-0. He's undefeated. 4-0-1 in his last 5. He's coming off that submission. No, sorry. That's Grant Dawson. Mark Madsen, 12-0. He's undefeated in his career. And he's coming off that win over Vince from Hell Pichel, where he was the 2-1 underdog. Grant Dawson, 18-1 overall. He's 4-0-1 in his last 5. He's coming off that submission win over Jared Gordon. Listen, I'm always torn when you get these nasty, nasty wrestlers, like literally Olympic-level wrestlers, because he's fighting Grant Dawson, who's also a grappler and essentially needs to grapple to win, and he's the underdog, 2-1 underdog, just like in his last fight. And takedown for takedown or stat for stat, accomplishment for accomplishment, Mark Madsen's the better wrestler. But he also gets taken down. He gets taken down at a surprising clip, considering he's an Olympic wrestler. Like, he gets taken down a lot. He is a Greco wrestler, and Greco is, it's standing only. You don't really touch legs. You don't shoot sets.
That's what I did.
But it doesn't matter. You don't spend your whole life wrestling and only know one style, because even I'm pretty sure Daniel Cormier was a Greco Olympian as well, and he takes shots, obviously. So, because I saw some people say,
I thought he
it's
didn't
Greco.
make the team.
I think he was an Olympian. He just didn't do anything with it, which is, okay, he made the team. He's an Olympian. Look it up while I do this. I'm almost positive he's an Olympian. Anyway, Mark Madsen, Olympic wrestler. He's got tons of takedowns, but he also gets taken down at a surprising rate. He's a decent striker. He outstruck Clay Guida in that fight, and as I mentioned in the Quick Picks video, that tells you two things. One, he actually has some decent striking, but two, why the hell was he striking? Why were you striking in that fight? He didn't even attempt to take down. It's not like he tried and didn't get it. He didn't even attempt. Why were you doing that in that fight? There was no reason for it. So his game planning could be a little off. Grant Dawson, he's got good hands. He's got good grappling. The problem is he also has a 40% takedown defense, which is not spectacular. But I trust Grant Dawson to shoot more than I trust Mark Madsen to shoot, as dumb as that sounds. So I like Grant Dawson to win this fight. But, we'll see what he looks like on the scales, because even though he bought himself an extra week, it's still short notice. He's still stepping up. And I think Mark Madsen plus 3.5 is the bet to make here. If you don't know what plus 3.5 is, you're just buying around on the judges' scorecard.
Wait,
I think Mark
Grant
Madsen
Dawson
can win one round. No, Mark Madsen plus 3.5.
Oh.
I think all he needs to do is win one single round on the judges' scorecard. He's a 2-1 underdog, so you get decent odds on that. And I
Minus
think he can win
190.
one single round. It flips, huh?
They think what you think.
Yeah. Well,
And
all
usually
he
the
needs to do
public is
win one round.
stupid, and you're the sorry.
Well, the public and I are correct here. Anyway, Jake, what do you think?
I think they're trying to bait you into in that bet. Listen, I think I mentioned Mario Batista as a dude. I mean, Grant Dawson is a dude. I mean, this dude is a dude, 18-1, relentless wrestling, relentless grappling. He is the overall better grappler of the two. If it's just a wrestling match, now don't twist my words here. If it's just wrestling, I think that Mark Madsen is probably the better wrestler. But you mix in all the aspects of MMA, jiu-jitsu, scrambles, everything, Grant Dawson is the better grappler of the two. You saw that in Mark Madsen's last fight. He was, even on takedowns versus Vince Pichel, he was reversed and swept with Vince Pichel. If he gets in those same positions against Grant Dawson is going to be on his back. That was a bad, like that. I mean, that was a
That
weak,
was
I mean,
the
that was
very
weak
weak
snap. I can't snap with my right hand very well. My left one, I'm pretty good. But yeah, so the right one's a little bit lotiony all the time. Yeah, Grant Dawson is a guy that he. I don't love his stand-up game, but he does enough on the feet to get to the wrestling, and that guy is non-stop. He will get tired, especially this short notice. He will get tired in the third round. But he doesn't stop when he's tired. That's the thing. Even when he is tired, he still gets to people's ankles and he still gets the takedown because he knows that is his path to victory. He still will get on your back even when he is tired. And Mark Madsen also will get tired, and he is 38 years old. I know he's 12-0. I know he was an Olympian. There's a reason he is a 2-1 underdog. Grant Dawson is no joke on the ground. I think the wrestling is a stalemate. The grappling and sweeps and scrambles definitely goes to Grant Dawson. Mark Madsen, for whatever reason, has wanted to stand, I think, as you mentioned, on the feet a little bit more. That might even be his path to victory because I think Grant Dawson comes in, takes him down, gets his back, and finds submission in this fight. Mark Madsen doesn't have a lot to offer except for just kind of wrestling control. And even, as you mentioned, even those controls, sometimes he gets swept, sometimes he loses scrambles, and he gets taken down in his own right. I am Grant Dawson on the way. I'm a big Grant Dawson guy, so I would probably say I'm a little bit biased. I'm pretty high on him no matter who he's going to fight, but he's relentless, man. And his grappling and scrambles and sweeps are no joke.
Yeah, I mean, he has the higher takedown average, the lower takedown accuracy. So what does that tell you? That he's just constantly diving at legs. And that's why I picked him to win, because I trust him to grapple, where we've seen Mark Madsen not grapple when he should have. And that is obviously a problem at times. So I like Grant Dawson to get it done for sure. So do you. You're a little more confident than I am. And I do think Mark Madsen, do you not like that plus 3.5 bet? You don't think Mark Madsen can win a round?
Yeah, I could see it, especially like if it goes to the third round. We've seen Grant get tired, and maybe he's able to take him down. And Grant will play the jiu-jitsu game. Not necessarily he's not one of those guys that'll lay on his back and just throw up triangles and stuff. He's always trying to sweep and work back to his feet. But there is a world where, Mark Madsen is able to control 3 minutes of a round. So I don't hate it. Minus 190 is a little bit.
It's too much. If it was minus 150, I'd jump on it. 2-1. I mean, 2-1 underdog to completely flip to 190 is a little. That's always tricky. So, I mean, they saw what I saw, that he's a very good wrestler, and if he just does that in one round, yes, you in the back.
I forgot to mention, when I was breaking this down, and as high as I am on Grant Dawson, there is one thing that just kept going back to my mind. Do you know what it is? I kept getting just absolute PTSD. Pat Sabatini flashbacks. Because I thought that he was going to come in and it feels like the same thing. Pat Sabatini was going to come in, be the better wrestler, better grappler, come in, dominate that fight against Damon Jackson, and then wild things happen. So wild things can't happen. I believe that Grant Dawson is the better grappler, but every time I was breaking down this fight, I kept getting those wild Pat Sabatini flashbacks because I'm just as high on Grant Dawson in this fight as I was against Damon Jackson. So we'll see what happens.
I mean, that would be wild. Just because that's not even, like, Mark Madsen has no power. So that would be absolutely wild if that happened. You jinxed it. Although I will say Mark Madsen at $7,200 in DraftKings, not terrible. First of all, he's the one with the full camp here. Grant Dawson's the short notice. So Mark Madsen's got full camp.
Yeah,
Mark
but Grant
Madsen
Dawson's
can wrestle.
a dude that. Yeah, but Grant Dawson's a dude that literally, he's nonstop training. He's ATT dude, nonstop training.
Didn't ATT get smoked this past weekend? Or did they not? I know a few weeks ago they had one of the roughest nights I've ever seen.
They have so many fighters now. They have like 3 fighters.
That is the problem. That is, well, that's not a problem. That's actually incredible and good for, congrats to them for all their success. I just mean that is, when I say that's the problem, it is hard to sort of keep track, because some of these smaller successful gyms, it's very easy to keep track. Like Jesus Christ. Like Sanford was the gym for a while and then just hit a fucking slope. And then now we're seeing that with all those Jersey boys with Sabatini. That gym's
before that
it
was Fortis just down the road in Fortis. Everyone's losing Fortis, and now that Pat Sabatini gym, Jesus Christ. Jeremiah Wells is probably the next one to fight, and then Andre Petrosky, they might be on the same card and both get starched.
Well, they've never lost in the UFC. And then now they're just going down hard. It's not going well for them. Anyway, $7,200 in DraftKings. That may, if you like some of these massive, massive favorites, you're going to need that price point. So give that a try. If you need help building your lineup, head on over to WeWantPicks.com. Become a premium member. We have a DraftKings Optimizer. What a DraftKings Optimizer does is it takes the projected ownerships, it has every single fighter, and it does the average score. So basically it'll take the score that fighter averages, whether it's by stoppage, by decision, and it'll average that out, project out a score, and build lineups for you. Because it has to rank these fighters. It'll rank them based on that average score. You click a few buttons and it will literally build lineups for you. So you can say, I do want Mark Madsen, and it'll make sure it keeps Mark Madsen in there, builds a lineup around him, or I don't, etc. So if you need help building a lineup, weonpicks.com, become a premium member. It's only $10 a month. A, it's incredibly helpful for us. It supports us. B, you get the optimizer, you get the bets, you get everything else. What do you need? What?
Adrian Yanez just liked my tweet.
Awesome.
He follows me on Twitter, so I mean it's no big deal. I'm pretty
It's not a big deal, correct.
I'm pretty well known in the community. I get in fights with fighters, and other fighters love me. So, and he really does love me. He doesn't like you.
Who?
Adrian Yanez. He doesn't like you at all.
Because I gave Tony Kelly. I said Tony Kelly's decent.